Okay, minnow tip number 1, put some hydrogen peroxide into your minnow bucket water. That will add in more oxygen and typically can keep your emerald shiner minnows alive longer, usually for at least about a couple more hours. So if you want live minnows for a full day of fishing, which will help you catch more fish, this is the tip for you. In combination with tip 1, you want to put some ice cubes in sealed baggies into the bottom of your minnow bucket. And this will help keep the minnow water cooler, and it lets the minnows survive quite a bit longer, just like with hydrogen peroxide. Remember though, never put actual ice cubes or cold tap water into the minnow water because the chlorine and chemicals will kill the minnows off real quick. Chum the water, baby. If it's legal to chum in your state, all you got to do is grind up pieces of your dead minnows or bait fish, freeze them into ice cube trays. Then when you're out fishing, either on the boat or on the bank, you just drop the cubes like I'm doing here into areas that you want to start fishing. And as the ice cubes begin to melt, the pieces of bait will visually make fish come out of nowhere, just like hungry sharks and piranha on a blood trail. The best way to make live night crawlers even more deadly is to keep them in the refrigerator year-round in a good breathable styrofoam container with enough small air holes. Not only will this extend their life for weeks and even months, it makes the worms much more lively, more thick and plump, and this extra wiggle and dancing that the worm will do will drive bass and catfish crazy. Tip 5 is to be very quiet when approaching the bank with your tackle boxes and gear rattling around, and of course out on the boat too, because the fish will hear you coming and get spooked easily. Hopefully you know this already, that fish have excellent hearing, especially bass and catfish in particular. Now here's the best example I can give you. If you are a deer hunter, you certainly wouldn't bring your loud boombox blaring music up into the tree stand with you, right? So don't do it when you're fishing either. In fact, most deer hunters I know are even afraid to pass gas up there in a tree. All right, tip 6, you can use a toothpick or two whenever you lose your peg from your peg float, and it works just great to allow you to keep fishing. Joe and I use peg floats all the time, especially when we're catfishing and carp fishing just off the bottom. The peg float can be easily repositioned anywhere up and down the line depending on the water depth that you find the fish. You always have to make sure your rod eyes are aligned straight before you ever make your first cast of the day. Obviously, if you have a two-piece rod. Remember, rod eyes and the rod blank can twist and shift when you're transporting your rods in the back of your car from trip to trip, or even when you're carrying multiple rods on a longer trail down to your secret fishing spot. So just get into the good habit of making sure your rod eyes are always straight on every trip before your first cast, and you'll also eliminate backlashes and all those frustrating tangles in your spool. Change out all of your steel or other worm hooks, jigs, crank and jerkbait hooks, etc. to blood red hooks and catch more fish every time than the fisherman next to you, I guarantee it. Red is the color of blood. It triggers more predatory strikes and is the color that bass see best and like the most. And it also closely resembles the color of gills when bait fish are swimming away from the predator. Just go red and go home with more fish in the cooler every single time. You want to catch even more fish with the worms you'll be using out the fridge? Then always bait up and rig your worm through the body of the worm and feed it up the shank of the hook like I'm showing here. Rigging it this way will help prevent any pesky bluegill or panfish from trying to steal your worm piece by piece on its way down to your prize catch. So not only will this method help you up your chances of catching more fish every time, it'll actually save you a little money too by being able to preserve more of your bait. There it is. Awesome. Give it a shot. Okay, tip 10, whenever you cast out your spinning rod, make sure to release the bail manually with your hand as soon as it hits the water. This is going to do two things. Number one, it's going to prevent any tangles or backlashes in your spinning spool. And number two, it's going to help preserve the life of your reel components. No more clunky twisting and turning that most people do after they make the cast. It's a great habit to get into. Give it a shot. I'm sure you'll love it. You got a few leftover safety pins still laying around? Good, go grab them. It's a great way to easily store your swivels and hooks all in one simple place. Especially if you're out in the river fishing, you can just hook the safety pin onto your vest for real easy access. So no more fumbling around in multiple compartments of your tackle cases. Everything will be stored in one place. So get a couple of these safety pins, make your life easier. Get yourself one of these really cool line spool boxes that can hold 6 spools of your favorite line, type, and diameter, and you'll never have to use a pencil or your buddy ever again to help get line onto your reel. This box was really a great invention, only costing about $15 to $20, and it'll spool up all your braided line with ease. Spooling the line on right from the box will prevent backlashes in your spool. It goes on uniformly, consistently, nice and taut. Go get one of these. They're really great. Okay, folks, thanks for watching. Please like this video, hit the subscribe button before you leave, and don't forget to enable your bell notifications so you never miss another great video coming your way.